Just two dudes having a conversation. You're my friend and I trust you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast.
You're my friend and I trust you.
That's what people are calling it nowadays.
It's a podcast.
Once again, we're doing this way too early in the morning.
Yeah. We switched up from what we have been doing.
Yeah.
Which...
Oops. Yeah, I tried to get all those like morning noises out on my way over here. And that's the problem with, what the heck, man?
This comfy chair?
Yeah, I just noticed this comfy chair that you got. I'm on a stupid folding chair.
But the folded chair is padded.
Barely. Might as well not be.
This one, actually, I don't know why this is in this room. I came in and there was that chair and this chair. And I was like, okay, I'll take this chair.
I'm a little bit upset about that, but also a little bit concerned.
Because...
Remember what happened when we would do this on couches?
Get ourselves too comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not as tired as you were anymore.
That's true.
You have transitioned. You have metamorphosized out of your sleepy Pudge phase.
Yes.
You are now just cruising altitude
just
Pudge.
coasting through life.
How you doing with all that? How you feeling?
Good. I'm kind of in a lot less restrictive diet now.
Yeah.
So,
what kind of foods have you been able to reintroduce?
Reintroduced potatoes.
That's a big one.
I reintroduced like cheese and dairy.
Okay, yeah.
So that's been nice. I did reintroduce like wheat or grain.
Okay.
So we had pizza a couple days ago, and it wasn't too bad. Like I can definitely tell, like, if I eat something that I'm just not used to eating, like I don't like I'm at a point where I'm supposed to like maintain my current weight over like 3 weeks or something, and then if I want to lose more, I can do that. But so nothing I've eaten has like dramatically affected that, which is good. But I also don't eat nearly as much as I did. Of one thing. And that's really the whole thing, is just moderation. So
If you eat something super unhealthy like that pizza, or if you had like a burger yet or anything like that.
Yeah, I've had a burger.
Do you feel that? Like, does it affect you more than it did before?
Not necessarily. I mean, I definitely like the thing that I've noticed is at work, if I eat like a burger or something for lunch, then that afternoon I feel tired again, like I used to. So that's like the big thing. I don't like feel like I'm gonna upchuck or anything. So
Right.
yeah,
I've been doing smoothies. Like, I just started doing smoothies like for lunches. Best decision.
yeah,
They're so good.
yeah.
You just get some strawberries, blueberries, half a banana.
This is the blueberries thing throws me off.
Why is that?
Excuse me. It seems like a weird combo with the straw, because like strawberry banana smoothie,
Right.
is a big thing. Strawberry banana blueberry smoothie.
You really don't taste the blueberries.
Really?
Yeah. They do add a ton of color though.
Yeah.
Like, it'll make that thing very vibrantly colored.
So what color is it?
It's like a purplish,
Okay. That's what I was thinking.
like kind of a darker purple. Yeah. But I'll do that, like a smoothie for lunch and be fine.
yeah.
Because I'm normally not that hungry.
Yeah.
Like, I'll fast until about noon
Yeah.
and I'll be hungry, but then I'll drink that smoothie and I'll cruise till supper time. So I don't know. I mean, I know that there's a high sugar content
Yeah.
in that sort of stuff, but I'm not adding any more sugar. I don't really need it.
It's like natural sugars, so that's different too.
But I was thinking the other day, is it like, because I'm throwing probably like 4 or 5 strawberries in there, handful of blueberries and my banana. Is that smoothie just like chocked full, like to the brim of natural sugar? Like too much of a good thing?
Do you end up having like a high and then a crash in the afternoon?
Not really, no.
Okay. Yeah.
But does natural sugar do that to you?
I don't know. I'm like, I know when I was in the restrictive phase, like I did fast over breakfast. So my first meal was lunch. But one of the things that they told you is, make sure you don't eat fruits in the morning. Like, because if you're hungry, you're supposed to eat, but like they give you kind of a guideline of what to do. Like, so if I woke up hungry, they're like, don't just starve yourself.
Yeah.
But one of the things was don't eat fruit in the morning because of the sugar content, and it'll spike your blood sugar. So I don't know.
Every time I think I'm being healthy, man.
This is kind of like the Wendy's salad thing.
If you don't know, Wendy's sprays sugar water on their lettuce to make it taste better. So, I mean, if you look at the calorie count on a Wendy's, like I would get the spicy chicken. That was my jam. Spicy chicken salad. The calorie count is like as much, if not more, than a Baconator. Wow. It's crazy.
Man.
But like right about the time I started, like my taste buds had changed. Because your taste buds change.
7 years.
Every 7 years, your taste buds change. I started liking salad and getting into salads and trying to eat a little bit better. And I would go to Wendy's, get this spicy chicken salad, thinking I was all healthy. Nope. It's just as bad as a Baconator.
Just eating sugar salad.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I don't get, like, why can't, I hate that food that's good for you is so expensive.
Right.
And two, it's like, why can't, like fast food places or whatever, just make food that's supposed to be good for you, instead of adding all this extra crap in.
Yeah. I also wonder too, of how much of the healthy food is actually good for you because of everything that we do to our crops now.
Yeah.
And like growth hormones that we put into our food and like the natural preservatives and things.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I feel like the only way you can be true, like you really know, is if you just grow everything yourself.
Right, like have a garden.
Yeah. Which I would love to do.
Do you think you're going to do that this spring? Something?
Maybe. Depends. We have this grand plan of paying off debt and whatnot.
You're right.
And so that kind of plays into like how much we want to, because like at the place we live, we have a nice backyard, but I don't want to like tear up the yard, so we'd probably build like raised beds.
Okay.
And it was like, I don't know if I want to put all that work into it if in 2 years we're gonna, buy a house or something. So
right.
I don't know.
I think you could even do like on your back deck, just like a potted.
That's true.
Like tomato plant or something.
Yeah. We did. Our first place was this really, really small attic apartment. I don't know if I've talked about that on the podcast before, but
Place was
it was pretty great. It was literally the top of a house that on the outside you had to walk up a huge flight of steps to the top of the house. Around the back,
technically 2 flights of stairs.
That's true. And then once you actually got up in there, it was just a finished attic, and the ceilings were, I don't know, maybe 6.5 feet, maybe. Like my father-in-law is a very tall guy, and like when he came in, he kind of had to cock his head a little bit. But
I remember your shower head. Was it about shoulder level?
Yeah. Yeah. So you get in.
You look like Elf.
You had to like throw the water. Yeah. And what was funny too is since it was an attic, so the sides of every room sloped because of the
which I really dig that.
Yeah.
That look. I don't know why.
I don't mind it actually. It's a pain when they put the bathroom right up against the wall because then and also in the shower when the shower head's low.
Yeah.
But you're basically your head's up against the ceiling,
right, yeah.
Because it's angled the way it's angled. So you're like hunched over, like a little elf or something, like throwing water on yourself. But it was great because rent was like under $400.
Dude, like the cheapest rent I've ever heard of.
Yeah. And it was just a 1-bedroom place, which that was the first place I got when I started working at the church I work at. And it really suited me well. And then Allie and I got married, and she was still in school at the time, so we stayed there. And it was pretty great. But I say all that because it also had like a little deck on top of the house, kind of.
Yeah.
And so we didn't have a yard, but we wanted to grow something.
Mm-hmm.
And so we bought those planter boxes that go on railings.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just screw them into the railing and then you put your soil and stuff. And I think the only thing that we actually successfully grew were some little hot peppers. So, but
That's a bummer. You didn't get a lot of sun though.
no, and that was probably played into, and plus we had a lot of birds, so I'm sure the birds pecked at all the stuff.
You should have made like a little scarecrow, put them out there.
Yeah. And what was funny is then at our second place, we lived 3 places since we got married a year and a half ago. Sorry, Allie. We, right before we left, we had planted, a few different things. Like it was on a farm, and so we had a lot more land. So we planted some stuff. But we just planted at random spots because like I kind of knew we were gonna leave, and so like there were like pumpkins spread like through around the house, and tomato plants. I think some strawberry plants, just random spots,
Just out in the yard.
Yeah, just out in the yard. So I don't know if they ever tore them out, but anyway,
They're probably still growing.
that'd be funny actually.
We can't get rid of them. They keep coming back.
They keep coming. I think we also planted watermelons, which when I was a kid, we accidentally grew watermelons.
Accidentally.
Yeah, because like we took our leftovers and just threw them in the yard.
Oh, and they grew.
They grew.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had some watermelons, but I would love, Allie, I don't think is on board with this, but I would love when we do have a house of our own, like if we can get enough space to where we could like raise beef and then have like a really big garden and like as much as we can just have our own food.
Yeah.
That would be ideal for me.
Yeah.
And I think with having kids later on, like I think it's good for them to have some responsibility and like taking care of an animal.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that.
It's in a garden too.
Yeah.
We had a garden like my whole childhood growing up until it got to be too much for my parents to take care of because my dad's got a bad back. But we would do sweet corn, a little bit of sweet corn, zucchini plants, tomatoes, cucumbers, and there was raspberry bushes on the end of it, which raspberry bushes are like zero maintenance. You just, if they're there, they'll grow, you know, which is really great. And raspberries are awesome for raspberry pie. But the sweet corn was always great. Just pick it right out of the garden and there it is.
You have a very fond obsession with corn. So.
Yeah. I'm kind of coming off of corn. Though.
Really?
I don't love it as much as I still really enjoy it.
You're not
like
gonna,
sweet corn.
You're not going to eat enough to put yourself back in the hospital.
Yeah. Man, I'm so sick of telling that story. I guess I have to now. I don't think I've told it on the podcast.
I think it's hilarious.
It's one of those stories that I've told so many times.
Yeah.
But I'll tell it. So I was a child of 10, 11, maybe 12. And we had some sweet corn, like big, massive ears of sweet corn. And I ate like probably 6 or 7 ears, like too many ears of corn. And I woke up in the middle of the night just with like the worst stomach pain and just like, So my parents thought it was like my appendix or something. So they took me into the hospital and like I wasn't able to poop, and the doctor's like, oh, he's had way too much corn and your body doesn't digest corn. So I think they gave me like a laxative and I threw that up like right away.
Yeah.
Because I remember throwing up. But
did you throw up a lot of corn?
Yeah.
Oh,
like just straight up corn kernels. But I eventually did poop and problem solved. But yeah, I was hospitalized for eating too much corn. So,
oh man.
I hope that's the last time I tell that story. Honestly,
we haven't recorded. So.
It's recorded. I'll just point them to this podcast, episode 43 or something.
Yeah.
But what's the deal with throwing up spaghetti? How does it come up whole? Have you ever thrown up spaghetti?
I don't think I have actually.
I threw up spaghetti once. It was just whole strands of spaghetti. I was like, I chew this stuff.
Yeah.
And apparently that's like a typical thing. From like talking with other people, it seems like whenever you throw up spaghetti, it comes up as like the whole noodle.
Do you think it's just like pieces that you missed?
Maybe. I don't know. Because spaghetti is just like the texture is very like soft.
What's the worst thing you've thrown up? Is it spaghetti?
I mean, spaghetti is not horrible. That was more interesting. Like I was more intrigued as it was happening. Like what is happening right now? I think the worst thing I threw up is I threw up something like spicy once.
And spicy coming back.
Yeah. And like that with the like the acid of,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it was like coming through my nose and stuff, which is the worst.
Yeah.
But what's the worst thing you've thrown up?
I was in college. It's my freshman year. I'd just gotten back for like the spring semester. And college I went to, they had these classes called early weeks. So you can take basically a semester's worth of a class in 1 week. And it's the beginning of the semester. And so you just come a week early. So I decided to do that. And I went to school in Cincinnati. And one of the big things in Cincinnati is Skyline chili. Cincinnati style chili. I love Skyline. Like Donnie knows my love for Skyline.
It's amazing. If you don't know what it is,
You should don't try the first thing. Like they sell cans of it at the store.
don't do it. You have to go to the restaurant. But
Absolutely.
it's spaghetti with like a real thick style chili, right? Like a real meaty chili.
It's more like a sauce.
Yeah, like a chili sauce.
Yeah.
I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you put it on like spaghetti. You put it on like make conies with it. You make like burritos. They make a ton of stuff. Chili cheese fries. It's fantastic.
But then top all that off with just like a
best.
whole bag of cheese.
Yes, and like freshly grated.
Yeah.
I don't know how they make it so nice.
Yeah.
But anyway, love Skyline chili. Went to school in Cincinnati. School I went to, if you showed your ID card, you got like a discount. So
boy.
Ate a lot of Skyline when I was down there.
Yeah.
So my early week got down there and went and got Skyline like maybe the second day of class for lunch. By that afternoon, like my stomach kind of hurt or whatever, but I was like, yeah, maybe it's just I ate too much Skyline. No, got food poisoning from Skyline.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I mean, just absolutely awful. And like, it was a community bathroom. And so like, I had to like go in, you know, and I was basically sitting on the floor by the toilet all night.
Gross.
Just puking my guts out, Skyline chili. And it was like spaghetti and conies, and it ruined Skyline for me for a good 2 years.
Wow.
I've since recovered and I love Skyline. But that partly was like because it was the worst because I like it so much. But then also just coming back up, it kind of had the taste of Skyline, but I was also mixed with everything else.
Yeah.
And it just ruined it. I couldn't even smell Skyline at that point.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever ruined a food by throwing it up.
Really?
Yeah. I guess the cheddar cheese sun chips, those are kind of ruined for me because I was eating those like I had been sick. Like I had a stomach thing going on. And then like my stomach started to get a little bit better. So I was hungry. So I was eating a whole bunch of those. And then my stomach started hurting again. And I ended up like on my way to the hospital, like we were walking out the door and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to throw up. So I went out into the yard and just threw up cheddar cheese sun chips. But then that time when I went to the hospital after I threw up, I ended up having a stomach virus that literally felt like somebody was trying to rip my stomach out, like out of my gut.
Just pain.
It's literally the most pain I've ever been in before or since. I've never been in that much pain before. It was excruciating, like a level 11 pain. They put me on morphine. It was so bad.
Crap.
Yeah.
Man.
And like all that, anything internal, like that I don't have like a broken bone or I'm bleeding, it's always like, oh, just get over it. You're fine.
Yeah.
You know? But the doctor came in and he was like, I had the same thing. It's been going around. I've never missed a day of work in 15 years. I had the same thing last month and I was out for 2 weeks. So I was like, thank you for validating me.
Oh man.
Morphine's great though. It's amazing.
I've only had it once.
Oh, it's so good.
And that I don't really remember much after they gave it to me.
Yeah.
Apparently they gave me a shot in the butt.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was when I threw my back out right before my wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, so Allie and I weren't married yet, and she had to, it was in that attic apartment, and I couldn't stand up. Like,
Yeah.
I was all hunched over because it was just like, it locked up.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was trying to it was like probably 11 o'clock at night at that point. And she was trying to get home because she didn't live at my house, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was like, I could lay on the floor, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was laying down, I was fine. I was like, just leave me here. I was like, I'll sleep it off. I'll be fine in the morning. She was like, no, she's like, I can't just leave you like here. And so she had to get me. Now, granted, I have a good, probably 150 plus pounds of my wife.
Yeah.
She's maybe 5'4". I'm about 6 foot. So
she's very small to begin with.
Yeah, very small. And I could I'm like shuffling like an old man, like barely moving, trying to like get myself down these steps. And she was like, I'll go in front of you. That way, if you fall, I was like, no, if I fall, like
I'm taking you with me.
Yeah. I was like, just go behind me. And, so she got me into the car, and luckily the hospital was just across the street basically.
Yeah.
But, I got myself into the emergency room, and, I was laying like face first on the stretcher thing in the ER because that's the only way it felt good, was just laying face first. So,
Wow.
They came in and asked me, what was going on. I was like, honestly, I was just getting off my futon, and it just boom
Went out.
Yeah. And just, spasmed like crazy. And, so he was like, okay, well, he gave me a shot of morphine and Valium. And then gave me a prescription for like muscle relaxer and Vicodin to take that week.
Wow.
But apparently they came in, and again, I'm face first on this thing. Mm-hmm. They just pulled like my pants down, and gave me a shot in the butt.
In the butt cheek.
And Allie was in the room, and this was probably because they kept me there until like they made sure it released and I could move and stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't remember, probably 3 minutes after they gave me the shot of morphine, I don't remember anything until the next morning.
Wow.
But, because I think it was the mixture of Valium and morphine.
Okay.
But apparently Allie was telling me that after, like, we were just sitting in there, and the nurse came in and was talking or whatever. And I kind of looked over at Allie, and I was like, do you see my butt? Because again, we're not married and whatever. And she was just sitting there. She's like, she said she was so embarrassed because the nurse was there. And I just kept going on about, you saw my butt, didn't you? But she somehow got me back home and in bed, and woke up the next morning. And I was like, what the heck happened? But Vicodin doesn't work well with me.
Did they say why your back went out? Like anything that might have caused that, like stress or something?
Not really. I mean, like, I've had back issues before. Like, I had a disc issue that I went through physical therapy, and it kind of fixed it. But they didn't really tell me why. So,
is there anything you can do to prevent that from happening?
Yeah.
Because now I'm super concerned about it. I don't want to stand up out of this chair.
Get up. For me, what it is, it's actually my hamstrings are the problem.
Okay.
And so when I don't like keep my legs stretched, the hamstrings tighten up, which pull the muscles in my back.
Okay.
And so if I start having back pain, I just stretch my legs, and it's all good. Pro tip I had to pay like thousands of dollars to go through therapy to learn that.
Stretch your hammies.
Just stretch your hammies. Now, if it's like a structural issue, probably not, but.
Yeah. Man. Speaking of doctors and stuff, I just went to the doctor 2 weeks ago, I think. And I finally got Zoloft, which is an anti-anxiety. Mm-hmm. Hasn't kicked in yet. I've been taking it about a week. He said it would take about 1 to 2 weeks to kick in. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to start, hopefully, feeling better and feeling not as crazy, like with anxiety. I was supposed to do a small group with my dad at Ripley, our old church. And like the day that we were going to go there, I just freaked out.
Really?
Yeah. Like one of the worst anxiety attacks I've had in a while. But I think a big chunk of that is to use this podcast as therapy a little bit, is I haven't seen those people in like pretty much since I graduated from high school. So going on 5 years.
Yeah.
And I know that they're going to ask me like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing now? And like right now, I've never felt like more of a failure than I do right now. Like I've always kind of struggled with that. That feeling of failure, no matter like how successful I have been or was. I don't really know how to fix that yet. I'm trying to figure out like what I need to address internally to think differently about success and about failure. But right now, not having a job and not being able to find one, and then also with the social anxiety that is at this point pretty debilitating and keeping me from getting like a part-time job, that just all is piling up and making my sense of failure feel very looming. So I didn't want to go to church and have to deal with that.
Yeah.
With all those people.
Yeah.
But yeah, not to use this podcast as therapy, but that's one thing I have discovered about all of this is it's nice to talk about rather than just internalize.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, let's do a little transition into something probably not happier than that. But
is it going to be happier than the last episode?
Maybe.
We really struggled to keep
it happy.
Yeah.
Do you ever find out what was going on with your voice? If you've listened to the last episode, Pudge's voice just was gone.
Yeah, I don't know. It actually did it again last night.
Really?
Yeah. Now last night we had worship rehearsal, which last episode, right after worship rehearsal is when we recorded the last episode. And so I don't know what's going on. I mean, this morning I woke up and I haven't like sang or anything, but it feels okay. So
maybe you have nodes.
Yeah, maybe. It's actually kind of a fear of mine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So I guess if it keeps getting worse,
My philosophy is if you don't have it checked out, then there's no issue.
Exactly.
There's no problem.
Yeah.
But I also go to the worst possible thing of what it could be. Yeah, any like minor pain.
Start Googling it. And it's cancer and you're dying.
Any like little thing that I feel inside my body, like in an arm, like, you just have like those random pains, like deep, like in your muscles or something. Anytime I feel one of those pains, I just, in my head, I know it's a blood clot.
Yeah.
And it's the end.
Yeah.
Because I know that's what's going to kill me is a blood clot.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be quick and random, and it's just going to happen. That's my biggest fear.
No, it's a huge fear of mine that is because like my brother just had blood clots in his lung. And so it freaks me out. My grandma died of a blood clot like that. Like she was healthy as a horse and then just had what she thought was just like a pulled muscle in her leg. And that morning she was going to go to the doctor for it. And she woke up at like 6 or so and went out to the living room to get it. Like her kitchen was off the living room. So she was going to get a drink of water. And my grandpa thought she had just passed out, but it was the blood clot had gone through her heart and
crazy.
She was gone. So
it's crazy.
Yep. Which I guess is,
of all the ways to go, probably the best.
Yeah.
Just quick and it's over. But what I guess I don't want to get into what causes blood clots, but they're not hereditary, are they?
They can be.
Okay.
In that you can be more, your blood can be more conditioned to coagulate or however you say it.
Coagulate.
Yeah. And so like with my brother, he's going to have to start doing testing on his blood, but he's on 6 months of blood thinners since it happened. So he has to get to the point where he's off of those in order to get his blood tested. So if that shows something, then like I'm going to get tested. Like probably everybody in my family is going to get tested. So So yeah.
Let's spice it up a little bit.
Yeah.
The running theme recently with us.
Doom and gloom.
Doom and gloom. All right, so you're really interested in World War II.
I am.
I'm really interested in World War II. There's actually a really sick documentary that I want to see that just came out. It was directed by Peter Jackson, who did The Lord of the Rings, and it is colorized World War II footage with sound, like added in. So I don't know exactly how they did it, but it looks like if you were to see a person talking on the screen in the old footage, which was just black and white, you probably wouldn't hear the voice that went along with it. But they had people that like read lips, like say this is what they're saying. Then they had like ADR, like people voice them, voice those people. So I think that'd be really sick to see.
Yeah.
But I went on a little tangent the other day, and I looked up some World War II facts that even you, Pudge, somebody who knows a lot about World War II, might not know.
Okay.
So let's go through those today. This is our historical episode for no reason.
Puking and history.
Yeah.
Hope you're eating lunch.
Yeah. That would be best case scenario. Eating some lunch. Did you know that 80% of Soviet males born in 1923 didn't survive the war?
Wow. I did not know that.
Pretty crazy.
That's crazy. I mean, even just like across the whole spectrum, how many people died?
Oh, yeah. It was more, World War II was more, I think, than any other war previously combined.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
And then like to think, chances are, even if there's another world war, it's not going to look like that.
Oh, no.
Like troops on the ground fighting in conflict. Like probably more people are going to die, but probably not more troops necessarily.
Right.
You know,
it's going to be more, I think, more chemical, a lot more technological.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't even know. Like if things escalate to a certain point, it'd probably just be the end of everything.
Oh, yeah.
Because somebody's going to launch something.
Yeah. Or I think it'll be also like a cyber war. In that they'll target power systems.
What do you think would happen if just the entire grid of just say like New York City went down? Like all of New York is now without power.
I think maybe a couple hours you'd be okay. But you push a day or more, then it would probably get crazy.
Like if it was out for like a month.
Oh yeah. It would not be good.
I don't even know what would happen.
Because you think, I mean, well, if you think like people on subways at the time that
they'd be trapped there.
Like
they'd be dead.
Like I don't really know. I've never been on a subway, but
yeah, I think it's like there's neither have I, but I think it's like station to station, and then in between those stations is just tunnels.
Yeah,
and I guess there's like service access in those tunnels. So if you were able to pry the subway doors open, you could get out and find one of those service accesses and eventually make your way out.
That's true.
But I think the mass panic would be the worst thing.
Yeah.
That would be the worst thing. Getting back to these facts. In 1935, British engineer Robert Watson Watt was working on a death ray that would destroy enemy aircraft using radio waves.
I love that, like, it's actually called a death ray.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But his death ray instead evolved into radar, or radio detection and ranging. There's a lot of, and I want to find some more stuff. I didn't have time. There's a lot of crazy stuff that the Nazis were doing.
Oh, yeah. Like, just, yeah.
You know that I'm super into conspiracies. Nazis are just chocked full.
Yeah.
Like, probably of any, influential power ever, Nazis have the most conspiracy theories around them.
Yeah.
There's even conspiracy theories about whether Hitler died in that bunker or not. There's a whole TV show dedicated to that called Chasing Hitler or Hunting Hitler, I think on History Channel.
Yeah.
But so maybe I'll throw some stuff together and we'll talk about some Nazi conspiracies on next episode. Also, I don't know if it's like cool to be as interested as I am in the Nazis. I don't want to be a Nazi.
Like, are you a sympathizer?
No.
Okay.
I'm very interested in like how they did things and just that in general.
Yeah.
Because they had it was just a crazy thing, and they had a lot of stuff going on around them. I definitely don't agree with anything that they were doing. I'd like to make that abundantly clear. So in 1941, a private earned $21 a month. And I did the math already. $20 in 1940 was equivalent to $333.50 today.
Which even like now, I feel like our military's underpaid.
Oh, yeah.
For what they do. Like,
Yeah.
isn't that crazy? And especially too, like in that time frame in the world wars, like, yeah, there were like people were volunteering because like they just had, like they knew that was what they needed to do, you know.
There's also a draft too.
Yeah, there's a draft, but like, I don't know. It was just like a terrible time in history, but like it would have been interesting to be alive during that time, stateside, and just see, because like, you know, the whole like the women basically went and filled all the jobs that needed to happen that the guys.
I have a great aunt that was Rosie the Riveter.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So stuff like that, like, and all like the rations on like aluminum and different metals. And, I don't know. It would have been just a heck of a time to be alive.
Buying war bonds and stuff.
Yeah.
I really wonder what it was like.
Yeah.
Just like the whole vibe over here.
And I do see that, you know, there are also things, especially in our country at that time, that were super wrong. Like, and so like, I don't want to like look with rose-colored glasses on something that isn't all that great, but
Right.
It would have just been interesting to be around that time.
I wonder if that's when we, as a country, were the most united,
Yeah.
other than maybe like really early on, fighting against Britain.
Yeah. Well, I know, like, somebody tweeted the other day, like, how they miss September 12th, 2011. They said they don't ever want September 11th to happen again.
Yeah.
But they miss that, the feeling around the country on September 12th of like it didn't matter, like if you're Republican, Democrat, whatever, like everyone was on the same page.
Yeah.
And they miss that feeling because like you look at it now, like
Right.
we're so far past that.
Yeah.
Like,
It's crazy how divided we are now.
yeah.
I don't, at least I'm pretty young. We're both pretty young. I'm only 23, but in my lifetime, I don't remember any sort of divide like what we have now.
Yeah.
Just with, especially like to the extremes that we have now.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're in a weird part of history that I don't think that the part of history that we're in right now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, is going to be looked back on well.
No, it's going to be bad, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I often think of like, should I be doing something? Like, because like right now I'm just sitting by complacently, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to be one of those people.
Right.
I want to be part of the solution that
Yeah. I totally
kind of retaliated against that.
I totally get that. And I also wonder what in the time that we're in, what damage has been done that's not going to be able to be fixed going forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe people before us like went through things that they thought the same way of, and like obviously we got past it, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to look at even 15 years from now what things look like.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Get your crap together, Washington.
Yeah. No kidding.
Both sides.
Yeah. Both sides for sure. Getting back to these facts.
Yeah.
The vast majority of German war criminals passed themselves off as refugees at displaced persons camps when the war ended, thereby gaining freedom.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And it's like, and just in the last couple of years, like you hear of stories of these 90-year-old guys who are being tried now for war crimes because they've finally been found.
Yep. I don't know. Have we talked about the village in South America on this podcast yet?
I don't think so.
That might be a whole episode in and of itself. There's a whole German village in South America. It had, I forget how it started, but I think it started before World War II. Like it had been there a while already. It was like a couple people came over from Germany and just had started like their own village, and it even looks like German, like the German architecture of the houses is very similar. It was just kind of like a little haven, like a little pocket in South America. And after the World War II ended, all of like, not all, but like a good handful of like Hitler's top guys went there, like escaped to that village. And one of his, he had I forget his actual name, but his nickname was Dr. Death. Hitler's like top scientist that was in charge of like all the crazy experiments that they were doing. He escaped there. And apparently he was still experimenting after the war.
Oh, wow.
But that was like till kind of recently before he died.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to think about, like they were just walking around for a while.
Yeah.
Calvin Graham was only 12 years old when he enlisted in the U.S. Navy. He won a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart before the Navy found out how old he was.
How do you, a 12-year-old?
Right.
Like,
I did see his picture. He passes for 18.
really?
Yeah.
My goodness. I was just thinking like today's 12-year-olds trying to join the army.
Just, what would they be doing? They'd be flossing.
No, right. Granted, I think 12-year-olds back then and 12-year-olds today look vastly different.
Yeah. A little bit tougher.
A little bit tougher, yeah. Yeah. Man, 12 years old.
Yeah. What? That's crazy to think about.
And like, where was his parents?
Right.
Or where were his parents? Where were his parents?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they supported him.
Could be.
Maybe his dad was like, if you want to be a man, you got to sign up. You got to join. He's like, okay, I'll do it. And apparently he did well. He won a Bronze Star.
Wow.
And he got wounded.
Man.
So let's say he was in there for 2 years. He was wounded at 14. Shot at 14.
Oh, wow. It's also crazy too, is like how far technology has come to where he could fake stuff to like whatever proof that he had to show.
Oh, yeah.
Like was probably a lot easier to fake at that point.
Literally all you had to say was, I'm 18.
Right?
That's all you had to say. It seemed, because you hear about stories like that all the time. People saying like, oh, they were 15 or 16 when they enlisted.
Yeah.
It was just, how old are you? I'm 18.
I'm married.
Awesome. You're in. Come on in. Can you run? Can you shoot?
You're flat-footed? No? Okay.
Why is that that's the cutoff is flat-footedness?
That's what I've always heard is if you're flat-footed,
Yeah.
you can't join the military.
Why is that?
I have no idea.
What is flat-footedness? Like the arch of your foot isn't?
Yeah, where you don't have an arch in your foot. And I don't know if it's just because of problems that you're going to have or I don't know.
I don't think that I would pass a Army physical
No?
with my knees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I would want to have LASIK. If I was going to join, I would want to have LASIK first.
So you don't have to have those
Yeah.
huge glasses.
Huge glasses that are, they're going to get foggy and dirty.
Costs 12 cents to produce.
Yeah. And I don't want to wear contacts.
Yeah.
And risk like, especially where we're deployed now. It's real dusty. Have a contact dry out or pop out and I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. Although in the movie Lone Survivor, there's a scene in that movie where Marcus Luttrell loses one of his contacts. So he was a Navy SEAL with a contact.
See, I thought they didn't let you wear contacts.
That's what I thought.
Because of that.
Yeah.
And like you can't.
Maybe that was just added in for movie
Probably.
magic. Because that was always my assumption.
And also, you can't, like, if you take a regular prescription that you can't go without long enough for basic, they won't let you join.
Really?
Yeah. At least that's the reason they gave a friend of mine. So he tried every branch.
Really?
Every branch.
Every single, even the Coast Guard.
Yep.
Coast Guard wouldn't even take it.
Couldn't get in.
Oh, man.
So,
That's a bummer.
yeah.
Dang. All right, last thing here, and then we'll maybe wrap this episode up. The swastika is an ancient symbol of spiritual power. It was widely used until the Nazis reversed it and tilted it and made it a symbol of National Socialism. So I think it was actually, I think like Buddhism used it for a while. So it was like peace.
Yeah.
And then the Nazis took it, and now it is definitely not.
Now it's ruined.
Yeah. Which I think about all the time when I think about the Confederate flag. And people that, like, especially people around here in Ohio, that still fly that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into it. I can tell you're kind of hesitant to jump into this topic, but I'm going to get into it.
I just think it's... whenever I see someone, like, you know, flying it or they have it stuck to their car or whatever, I just automatically assume they're an ignorant person.
Right.
Like,
even the general, I think around here, at least, like the general thought process behind having that flag is, it stands for a time in our history, and it's not about racism. It's about, you know, something else. No.
Yeah.
It's just like the swastika. If you were to have a swastika and say, because it's a symbol of peace, that's not what it is anymore.
No. It just, you have to accept the fact that it's not, it's tarnished. It's, you know, whatever pipe dream that you have of it is gone.
It is now a racist flag.
Yeah. And two, like, there was a war that was fought and you lost.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you know, I mean, that in itself, and I don't know, and especially in Ohio is what drives me nuts. Cause like we weren't even part of the Confederacy.
Yeah.
So
why does that matter to you? You were born and raised in Ohio.
Yeah.
You're not part of the South.
Right.
You're a Yankee.
Yeah.
One. Also, I forget, was it you that I was talking with? I honestly forget who I was talking with about this. But in the Confederate States, like, not manifesto, but their own constitution, it was the Confederate slaveholding states. So that's what...
Right.
I don't know, man.
Just, yeah. And like, what are you gaining from it?
Right.
You know?
You feel cool or something?
Yeah. It's like, well, no.
Or are you really just a racist kind of?
Right.
And when somebody confronts you about it, that's your go-to.
Yeah. I have yet to hear a valid excuse for like supporting it and flying it.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know.
I just, because I haven't looked up or looked into it, but the Don't Tread on Me, even that.
You don't like those?
Well, I don't know what it's about. And I typically see that coinciding with
that
Confederate flags.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is? The Don't Tread on Me? It's Army related.
I don't know enough to really have.
Or no, that's like old America.
I think it's more so old America that like kind of like a not anti-government, but like I think it's more so a symbol of like small government and let me do me.
Gotcha.
And like, yeah. But there are viewpoints that kind of overlap with someone who may want the Confederate flag and not all. I'm not trying to stereotype all people, but there are some similarities there.
Gotcha.
In my opinion.
I just saw on Twitter a bumper sticker that said, "You're in America, speak English. YOUR."
Yeah. That bothers me.
that sort of stuff.
That mindset.
Totally.
Because we're a nation of immigrants.
Yeah.
Like, it's not gonna. hurt anything.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. How do you feel about this wall?
I don't know. I mean, part of it is I just avoided thinking about it because it's such a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
I know we have like parts of walls already that we've had for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I do think like I'm not in support of illegal immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm fine if people want to come here, just like try to do it legally.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to go to the extreme of like, no, this is our country, stay out,
right.
You know, which is, I think is the stereotype behind the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wish they would just get something together, and so that way we could open up the government again and people could have paychecks.
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of babies in positions to run things on both sides.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Yeah. I don't know how this ends, this current shutdown.
I have no idea.
I really don't know. Because it seems like Trump's not going to budge.
No.
At all. I don't see him backing down anytime soon. I don't know.
He has too big of an ego to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Have you seen the video of him talking about technology?
No.
He claimed to be the best at technology. And then somebody made a compilation video of him talking about technology.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Oh boy.
My son's on his computer. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep.
Oh man. What a time to be alive.
Right?
Oh.
Well, with all this badness and horribleness in the world, there's something good you can do.
You can do it today.
You know what that is?
You're
my friend and I trust you. 5K for compassion, I think. I think that's what it is.
For the cure.
That's what it should have been. You're my friend and I trust you for the cure. What it is, Pudge and I were trying to raise $500 for a charity called Compassion International. They focus mainly on assisting widows and orphans in third world countries. They also have a couple different things that they do mission-wise, including digging wells,
which is really cool.
Yeah, we're a huge fan of that sort of ministry. So what we're trying to do, we're just trying to raise 500 measly bucks for them.
That's it.
We're not taking any part of those proceeds at all.
No.
100% is going to go to Compassion. If we do get $500, there's no time limit. We tried to make a time limit. You guys did not pull through.
Way to fail.
Way to fail. But if we raise $500, then what we're going to do is we're going to run in a 5K. And Pudge is kind of getting into shape. He's thinning down.
That's right. At least losing the weight.
Yeah.
I probably still have an asthma attack trying to jog down the street, but
I'm in no sort of shape to be running. My foot is still messed up from like 6 months ago when I dropped my motorcycle on it. Tendon stuff just takes forever to heal. So I think I'd have to skip it. Like I can't run all out, but if I like do like a weird like skip thing, it doesn't hurt.
Please do it the entire time.
I'd have to. I'd literally have to.
We are at $75 of our $500 goal.
Nice. I'm very stoked about that.
Are we shouting out people who've donated or no?
We have one more person that's donated since.
Okay. I don't remember if we like called out names.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to one of our most faithful listeners.
Yes.
Who also calls us out on our crap.
Yes.
Carol coming in with $20.
Thanks, Carol.
I feel like we need like a cowbell or something. Yeah. Thanks, Carol.
Thank you so much, Carol.
We're at $75 of our $500 goal because of the people who have donated.
Yeah, we are slowly plodding along. We're getting there.
That's right.
We're slowly getting there, but we will get there.
Almost to what? Would that be 1/5 of the goal?
Oh, don't come at me with that
know,
sort
I'm
of
just
stuff.
assuming 500.
Yeah.
So 5. Mm-hmm. So 200 would be 2/5. 300 3/5, 400 4/5, 500 5/5, which is 1, 500, right?
I will.
Carol, call me out on my crap if I'm wrong.
I'm not going to agree or disagree with that. That's your own thing. Because I'm sick of sounding stupid on this podcast. Also, shout out to Carol. She emailed us. I don't know if you saw the email.
I did not.
I didn't have time to really look into it, so that'll be on next episode. She sent us an email. There is a tele-evangelist around this area named Ernest Angley.
Oh, boy.
Who I think actually next episode I'm going to do a whole story on him because he's just a character in and of himself. There's been some things in the past that have gone down. He has
the buffet.
A buffet.
He did. He doesn't have it anymore.
Did have a buffet. We'll talk about that. But apparently he's one of those big dudes that is against homosexuality. Apparently he came out as having relations with a man.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So that'll be next episode.
Leave him on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Talking about Ernest Angley, one of my most despised televangelists. If you know anything about me, is I don't want to say hate because then I'm in the same boat as them.
Yeah.
But I very much despise televangelists. So tune in next episode to hear all about our beloved Ernest Angley and his fall from grace.
You can catch up on our previous episodes on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, Podbean.
The podcast app.
The podcast app. Is that the one that Carol uses?
No.
Carol, tweet us.
Yeah, which podcast app you use.
Yeah, because it's weird. But you can tweet at us at My Friend Podcast on Twitter.
Or if you want to send us in cool and interesting stories like Carol just did,
yes,
you can send it to our email, which is itrustyoupodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, find me on Twitter at the Jordan Benter, I think, still.
Yep, you can find me on Twitter at Don Moretti. And did you say you can find us on Back Row Radio?
I did not. Back Row Radio.
Back Row Radio. It's an online radio station that we are on. They're pretty solid, play some awesome Christian music,
Yes.
Actually good Christian music.
Really?
If you're looking for a Christian radio station that doesn't suck, like K-Love or The Fish, which is the ones around here,
Yeah.
Back Row Radio is the way to go.
Even Air One is now worship.
Really?
Yeah.
They were like kind of more...
Like still super mainstream Christian, but like not necessarily worship.
Yeah.
Now they're just K-Love.
That sucks.
Yeah. So Back Row Radio.
Yeah.
Check them out.
Check them
We're out on Fridays. I don't know if you said that.
Yep, we're on Friday mornings. There is like a whole talk section on Saturdays with a few different podcasts. And then all throughout the week, there is a morning radio show.
Yeah.
Morning radio show with Matt and Mo.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them. They shouted us out Wednesday.
That's right.
This past Wednesday.
Trying to get a bump in our compassion.
A little bump.
Bump.
Yeah. But thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking around this whole episode. We were a little bit tired. We tried to trudge along.
Try to keep it as upbeat as we could.
Yeah. We got a little dark.
I think we're starting to sound like grumpy old men.
You think so?
Talking about politics and...
Yeah. I'm not informed enough to be talking about politics. I really shouldn't be talking about it.
I basically
my mouth.
make all of my judgments on headlines that I read on Twitter.
Not even the full article, just the headline.
Which is awful.
I make most of my judgments based off funny compilation videos that I see.
Most trustworthy sources.
Oh, speaking of trust, just that word in general, trust. I have been doing some ad stuff for the podcast, and I came if you were to Google My Friend Podcast, the thing that would pop up is the link to our website, our Podbean website, and what you would see is "You're my friend and I trust you, a podcast you can trust."
That's awesome.
New slogan that we're going to be trying out here.
Podcast you can trust. Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't though. I wouldn't trust us though. But that's what our slogan is.
About as trustworthy as anything else these days.
Right. Honestly. I think we might be the most trustworthy news source. If we were to talk about news, because we're both so centrist, it would just be a little bit of misinformation from this side, a little bit of misinformation from this side, and it would just congeal into what has to be somewhat closer to
That's
the truth
true.
than those two sides.
And we are pretty open and honest about us not really knowing what we're talking about.
Yeah, you won't find that at other news stations.
No, you won't. Like, hey, here's something I have no idea about.
Right.
But this is what happened.
Yeah. There you go.
Put it in your hands, folks.
Yeah.
Trust us to give you the misinformation.
The misinformation you deserve.
Just two dudes having a conversation. You're my friend and I trust you.